Luke 21:30. When they now shoot forth, ye see and know of your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand. So likewise ye, when ye see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of the Most High is nigh at hand. Before getting on with the video, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles and others of Great Millstone. May Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai's peace continue to be bestowed unto you, hopefully elect. I'm your brother Yahweh Call from Great Millstone, Orlando, and just sounding the alarm as we are commanded to stand upon our watch, blowing the certain sound, the certain trumpet for the right cause. Being that we are in the environment, we are in the atmosphere of war, and all hell getting ready to break loose out here. If you haven't been sleeping under a rock and paying attention to what's going on, as I read, these things are getting ready to come to pass concerning Jacob's trouble, pestilences, death, and everything equated to it. Again, if you haven't been sleeping under a rock, as a matter of fact, I'm going to read verse 34 in this Luke 21. It says, "And take heed to yourselves, because redeeming the times, understanding the times that we're in, and now more than ever staying prayed up. Like they say in the world, make right your wrongs, right? Make peace with your demons, so to say. Basically just doing everything that we possibly can to be found in Yahweh Bashim Shah's grace, Lord willing, to be covered from what's getting ready to come down the pipes. It says, lest at any times your hearts be overcharged with fighting and drunkenness and cares of this life, so that day come upon you unawares. And it's easier said than done, because we're all, dealing with situations, and it's easy to get caught up, choked up with the cares of the so-called life. But, this is why throughout the scriptures, man, we are told to stay focused and not so many words. Stay on track. All right. Because, this isn't the end all be all. We have to go through the straight gate to obtain that peace, that rest. And again, because we are definitely coming into that time. Again, Jeremiah 30, Daniel 12. As I just read here in Luke 21, this chapter, also goes into the times that we're going into, that were prophesied, 2 Judges 15 and 16, and so on and so forth. The writing is clearly on the wall. Yahweh Bashim Shai, he's making powerhouse moves. So it's really a thing of bracing for impact, because there's a lot of things going on. And before I jump the gun, got this video here by Full Spectrum Survival, which Yahweh Bashim Shai, through his spirit, he uses these guys, because all they can do is tell you to prep carnally. In a roundabout way, they're telling you to to try to escape Yahweh Shemashah's judgment in a roundabout way. But there is no escaping. It's just a matter of being found under the Lord's pavilion. So again, that's why we are going to need Yahweh Shemashah's mercy. You know, because that's our only bet. You know, there is nothing else outside of Yahweh Shemashah's protection. So, like I said, you know, Yahweh Shemashah, he uses these guys just to paint a more clear picture for the men of the Lord. Because as the Lord said, he's going to pour out his spirit upon all flesh. And again, you know, the writing is on the wall. And only the men of the Lord can connect the dots. So just through the Spirit, without rambling on more, I'm going to play this video. And of course, copyright disclaimer, fair use. I don't make any type of monetary gain. All right, this is just for informational purposes. So without further ado.
Good afternoon, everyone. You're watching Full Spectrum Survival. 2 of every 3 ships that are leaving the Strait of Hormuz are now sailing completely dark. They're in the black with their transponders off, their lights completely turned off. A lot of them are using night vision to operate, and they're hugging near the Omani coast to try to avoid Iranian and U.S. military detection. The U.S. military has quietly coordinated some of these movements with so-called dark sailing routes. They're using these for selected commercial vessels, while the country of Iran operates its own clearance system that they're taxing these ships to be able to get through. In effect, what we have is 2 rival militaries exercising influence over one waterway. This marks a major shift from any U.S. policy of our past. Instead of publicly escorting ships in a way to guarantee their freedom of navigation, Washington is relying on discreet coordination and low visibility routes. The insurance market is responding by sharply increasing the cost of these ships. Most vessels are operating in stealth, but the insurers fear that they're facing a greater difficulty to be able to defy the Iranian regime's control. The result is a Strait of Hormuz that is not open, and it's not closed. It's operational, but it's increasingly under the shadow management of 2 competing and very operable militaries. Global shipping and energy markets are paying the price, and it looks like the El-Mandab Strait is next. With everything that...
So, not only is there a conflict with the Strait of Hormuz, but it's being reported another chokehold dealing with the El-Mandab Strait, or I believe they call it the Strait of Tears, if I'm not mistaken. But another chokehold, all right, a key point when it comes to the flow of global resources. You know, it's being said, and it's spiritual, because, you know, as I read in Luke 21, you know, here it is, it's summertime, the weather's nice, right? But how it's looking, and Yahweh Shemashah Ratazah, this is the case. This is going to be a hot summer. You got Exxon talking about running out of oil supplies, which that's going to cause major disruptions. You know, these elites, man, they're playing with the minds of the people. You know, gas went down a few cents, right? Under $4 in certain places. You know, it's all a psyop at the end of the day. You got this situation with what's this? They're calling this the UK's George Floyd event, with the stabbing and murder of this I forgot this Edomite's name, This was back in 2025, sometime towards the end of 2025, like October, November of 2025. We had the stabbing of this guy, this Edomite, what's his name? Henry Nowak, right? I forgot the individual's name, but pretty much UK is in the pot in the UK has been stirred because they just released the police footage of the incident, and again they're basically calling it their George Floyd moment, where Edomite got stabbed up. By what appeared, I forgot the dude's religion. But if you just look at the dude, if you just look up this situation, you just look it up. If you look at the dude, you would immediately think he's a Muslim of some sort. So, just having the spiritual lenses, you could connect the dots there, right? But this is stirring things up over there in the UK. All right, I believe it to be just another one of those tests, beta tests. That's just how I look at it, just being spiritually circumspect and spiritually discerned, because not being ignorant of Satan's devices, right? And you got all type of protests going on right now. Paris is tearing shit up, I believe, over a soccer game, if I'm not mistaken. And many other places. Many other places, they're tearing shit up because of the economic downfall, right? The inflation, right? And it's just a matter of time before all hell breaks loose over here in Babylon. But going back to this, with this whole Strait of Tears, all right, which is being said that they're reportedly going to shut that down. So again, connect the dots. And Lord willing, it's going to be a hot summer, man.
It happened over the weekend between Iran and Beirut, Iran and Lebanon. Now they're saying they're closing the El Mandab Strait. This takes out another 15 to 20% of the global oil trade. They will tax them, and you will pay. The documents that we are seeing leaked by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps claim that Chinese companies have helped Iran's Revolutionary Guard acquire chemicals and acquire these chemicals that are used in ballistic missile production, completely bypassing an American attempt to keep them under control. The documents describe a network. This involves companies in China, the United Arab Emirates, and Turkey. They are each facilitating the shipment of sodium perchlorate and sodium chlorate, the key ingredients that are used in solid rocket fuel. The records also connect the April 2025 explosion at one of the ports to a sodium perchlorate shipment. And according to the documents, the sanctions and the blast made it increasingly difficult for Iran to operate their missile program. At the center, we have one company, Hakun Energy, a Chinese company previously sanctioned by the U.S. for their ties to the Iranians. The document claims that Hakun has worked with Turkish-registered companies to move 12,000 tons of missile fuel. This is valued at $50 million, able to fuel 2,500 missiles. The records allege that proceeds from Iranian oil sales have been used to fund the purchase, and reports show that Chinese chemical shipments have surfaced. So what are we really looking at? China is using Russia to fight America, just like America is using Ukraine to fight Russia. The French Navy, supported by Allied countries, has intercepted a Russian-linked oil tanker in the Atlantic Ocean. This happened May 31st. This marks the strongest action of Western military exertion ever against Russian-sanctioned invasion networks. The vessel is named the Tagor, sanctioned by the European Union, the United Kingdom, and the country of Ukraine. It's accused of transporting Russian crude oil as part of Moscow's shadow fleet. Their shadow fleet is a network of tankers, shell companies, and changing registrations to bypass American sanction efforts. Now, for the first time in decades, inside of America, the cost of living has become the top concern for American citizens. A recent survey just found that 50% of U.S. adults view this as America's standing problem. It's bigger than crime. It's bigger than immigration. It's bigger than the Iranian war, and it's larger than the job displacement coming for AI and data centers.
And this is the question myself and many brothers have asked over the years. Because as I said, plenty of places are already tearing shit up. They're already protesting for real. And there's a whole lot more happening here in Babylon. And like I said, it's just, what is it going to take for these Babylonians to get roused up? What is it going to take for 2nd Ezra 15 to come to place, to take place? You know, I've been more and more, and I already see Yahweh Shemal Shai and Thawadi Yahweh Shemal Shai, you know, because I give the Lord thanks in advance. You know, I give the Lord credit in advance. You know, because again, just being spiritually discerned and circumspect. In little ways here and there, I see Yahweh Shemal Shai already, the Spirit moving on my behalf, setting certain things up. I see it already. Isaiah 4:1, I see it, which, you know, Isaiah 4:1, that's going to be, you know, at this point, for the most part, you know, I know a lot of brothers don't even look forward to it, but for prophecy's sake, it's going to play out. And, you know, we're just, again, bracing ourselves. But I just see Yahweh Shemal Shai set things up. Because with the times that we're coming into, I've just been in a more coming together and bringing our resources type of spirit. You know, like a small village type of spirit, type of attitude. You know, that's just how the Spirit has me moving. And again, the Spirit is moving in that manner on my behalf. Because again, with what's getting ready to come. Because again, man, you know, it's not like we're already not feeling the squeeze. Everyone's feeling the squeeze already. But as we know or should know, this shit's gonna get worse. Shit's gonna get more expensive. So again, the Spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai is turning up out here. And the scriptures talk about how 10 women are gonna bake their bread in one oven. Right? Like I always say, hey, get ready for those hey big head texts. All these single women in these 4-bedroom apartments. You know, these women living above their means in these 4-bedroom apartments, and she's the only one in that bitch. But you're living in a 4-bedroom apartment, 3-bedroom apartment with 2 cars, and you can only drive one of them. You see, just making a point again, because for brothers, man, hey, certain women in those type of positions, man, those type of resources are more and more going to be utilized for brothers whether it be individually or as a camp. You know, as a you know, because you have sisters out there, they look out for their prospective camps. You know, so you know, that's why we talk about the hopeful elect, the hopefully elect ladies, the elect lady, right? You know, there's certain women out there Yahweh Shemal Shah is going to use. Grab this real quick in Exodus, because whoever these women are, they're back today, and there's going to be a lot of women with this type of spirit, because you know when the spirit gets on women, the spirit gets on women. A lot of women are going to perish, but you're going to have, again, Yahweh Shemal Shah, he's reserved a handful of women, right? Again, the elect lady. So in Exodus 1, Exodus 1, Exodus 1 and 17. But the midwives feared the Most High and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive, because the decree was given to kill the men children. But you had these particular women fearing Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. They refused the king's commandment. You see, you know, Moses' mother, right? You know, but just making a point dealing with certain of these women with this, Yahweh Shemal Shah is going to give them a certain mindset. Because again, you know, certain women are preserved to be saved. They're predestined for salvation. So certain of these type of women, because in order for Isaiah 4:1 to play out, you know, society, even before all hell breaks loose, you know, again, women in these positions to where they have access to certain resources, right? More and more, we're going to see it being utilized for the body. All right. You know, everyone more and more is coming into their prospective roles, their prospective lots, and that includes the women. You see, so like I said, man, Yahweh Shemal Shai, he's moving on all aspects. The spirit is turning up. There's this paradigm shift. So this is the atmosphere that we're in right now.
5 years ago, it was down over 10 points. Concern over everyday expenses are surging, while other major issues are falling in their importance. Groceries and rent, electricity, and water are the leading problems. Officials say that this is inflation. It has nothing to do with the government. But Americans see a different reality. Prices are rising fast, and they're about to be a lot higher. Let's go ahead and see what's happening out there in the world.
What keeps me up at night? The state of democracy and rule of law in Europe in general. That's why, by the way, I'm here, because I am launching today with my team in the project Democracy 27, which is a...
What the European Union is saying is that America scares them more than China and Russia. And America scares them not because of our military might, because of our control structure. The Kuwaiti Ministry of Foreign Affairs has condemned the Iranian attacks against Kuwait, and they have said that there's almost no time left to do anything but military action.
Let me set a context for the audience sitting here. Pakistan and India, we find ourselves in a neighborhood which is very unique. We all understand that. We are two nuclear-armed rival nations. There have been nuclear-armed rivals, and the nuclear theory has been expounded starting from 50s till Kingdom Come, very deliberately. But this is a special case.
There you have a warning from the Pakistani Rocket Force commander. This is Zakaria, admitting that these two nuclear-armed countries are enemies. They will not work together, and if it's necessary, they will use nuclear weapons on each other. This is an unverified report because China has done so well to lock down their information, but there's reports that a person strapped kilograms worth of explosives and took out Chinese Communist Party outposts. This was on the missile that is reported to have attacked Kuwaiti logistics points. It has a sticker on it. This is an Iranian missile. The sticker says, "Until the last American soldier leaves the region." On the left, it shows an artificial intelligence-generated or photoshopped image of U.S. President Donald Trump, battered and beaten, on a cell phone asking for help, signs of the reported closed Strait of Hormuz visible in the background. So if they have this type of ability, I'm kind of afraid of what Iran is holding deep in their sleeve.
Distinguished guests, some of you may have heard the term new militarism, but nothing further from the truth. Think about it. There is a country that has a huge arsenal of nuclear weapons and strategic bombers. Japan has neither of such weapons, and yet Japan is labeled new militarism. Isn't it strange? Since the end of the Second World War, Japan has consistently respected international law.
But now Japan, so-called Japanese, they're basically talking about how, hey man, we want a dog in this fight. So-called Japanese, they're pretty much saying, hey man, we want a nuke, man. Because like it says in Isaiah 14, Esau, he's turned the whole world into a wilderness. And he's turned the whole world into a wild. He's turning the world into a wild west. Everyone's pointing their guns at one another, ready to pull the trigger because of Esau. He's becoming that taunting proverb as it speaks about in Habakkuk 2. So as I read again in Luke 21, man, because this is a what do you call it? What do you call it, man? Developing news, right? When it's developing news, I mean, new information is coming out. So it's also breaking news, developing news. Just dealing with, because as it's been said from the apostles and bishops on down, man, for years, once Iran and at this point it's America and Iran, once they start going at it, well, hey, because it's been said once Israel and Iran start going at it, America's going to get involved, right? Once Israel and Iran start going at it, the big dogs are going to get drawn in. So America, Russia, China, right? So going back to this in Luke 21. Luke 21, and I'll start at 29. And he spake to them a parable. Behold the fig tree and all the trees. When they now shoot forth, ye see and know of your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand. And Jake wants all type of signs. Pay attention to prophecy. We have a lot of people out here, man, I can't watch the news. It's too, well, hey. Y'all make the truth look boring. All y'all do is go into articles. Well, hey. This is us. Bear with me. Like I said in the beginning, standing on our watch, blowing a certain sound. Bear with me. That's why the scripture say, blessed is the man that readeth. Staying occupied in prophecies. That way we don't get caught up in, as I read, the affairs of this life. Habakkuk 2:1, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. So you see, letting you know what the deal is, letting you know what's getting ready to go down. That's how we know, hey, this shit's close. Yahweh Shema Shah is close. We feel his presence. Like I said, there's a certain spirit out there, and only the men of the Lord can connect the dots. All right, can make the vision clear. As I just read, only the men of the Lord can paint the picture for you. So this is how we know we're close. Back in Luke 21:30, when they now shoot forth, ye see and know of your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand. So likewise ye, when ye see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of the Most High is nigh at hand. So we're in the birth pains. More and more they're promoting the Neuralink, the MOTB. And I was making a point, because as we've been taught, and as the scriptures tell us to stick to the true doctrine, stick to what's been taught. So like I said, from the apostles on down, man, for years they said once Israel and Iran start going at it, it's already been talked about. Israelite soldiers, Israeli soldiers joining the American soldiers, joining the American military, right? But once they start going at it, which they have been, it's going to draw the big dogs, all right? And right now, Iran and America are going at it, and it's being said as of right now, out of retaliation, them Persians, man, they've been, as we speak, again, it's developing news, so it's being said that they're bombing American bases, military bases, over there in the so-called Middle East, all throughout that region. So this is how we know we're close. We're getting close, so close we can feel it. That's why it hurts. You wonder why. You just feeling that certain feeling. I can't express. I can't put into words, but it's just a certain feeling that we feel, anxious. Because again, we feel the presence of Yahweh Shai. Again, everyone has a certain feeling, but only we can connect the dots. So we feel the presence of Yahweh Shai, and this is how we know we're close. There's a certain level of excitement, readiness, right? Can only imagine how the apostles feel and the bishops, brothers will catch a hell, but at the same time, it's just like, man, fuck that. It's just a certain spirit of joy, peace. Gas is going up. I put this in the chat a couple of weeks ago, man, because $20 to fill my tank up, be good. But now, $40 ain't doing shit. It's like, damn. But on the same note, call all Yahweh Shema Shai, man. And the Lord's still providing. The Lord's still making a way. Everything's going up, man. Jake is hurting out here. Gotta find another job. Jake broke. But in the midst of all this hell, man, Yahweh Shema Shah is still providing, man. He's still making a way. He's still making a way. The Wadi Yahweh Shema Shah, man. Jake is fucked up, but the Yahweh Shema Shah is providing. He's still doing it. So, when we talk about from faith to faith, man, we don't got nothing to worry about. You know, sometimes, man, you just got to let it out. You just got to talk to the Lord. Sometimes you might cry. You might need to vent to Yahweh Shema Shah, may need to cry. But more and more, it's been getting to a point to where, hey, man, the hell with that, man. Yahweh Shema Shah is moving. He's doing it. Now, mind you, because I always make the reference, man. Time always seems to go by slow when you're looking at the clock. Because when you're not paying attention to time goes by fast, right? You're on the job, right? Shit goes by quick. Them last few hours, man. The last 2 hours. The last hour, it's always like, damn, why does shit take us so long? Because you're watching the clock. You're paying attention to the time. So time seems to be going slow because we're watching the prophecies. Spiritually speaking, we're looking at the clock. We are watching the prophecies play out. Again, we're occupied in the prophecies, so things seem to be going slow, but things are going fast. It's going by quick. It's going by quick. Like I said, man, Persians, apparently they're bombing, they're attacking U.S. military bases, and it's cold because on my so-called birthday, so-called born day, right? Everyone, damn, happy birthday, that bullshit, right? And I'm just like, whatever, man. And it never made sense to me in the world, but coming into this truth, it makes sense. Because I was always low in the spirit on my so-called birthday, so-called born day. I was always low in the spirit. I never knew why, but I understand now. So just was kind of low in the spirit on my so-called born day until I heard the news. Until I heard this news. That shit revived me. Because that's one thing, been praying to Yahweh Shema Shah to revive me, to revive brothers. Because, we die every single day. Some of us die quicker than others, but we're all dying every day. We die every day. But that's why I pray Yahweh Shema Shah, he revives me, he quickens me, brings me back to life. And that shit brought me back to life. Jake got to work early. Because the only upside to working these overnight shifts, man, hey, get to just study, watch news, watch videos, do videos, spend time with the Lord, and things of that nature. It's the only upside to working these overnight shifts. So that shit brought me to life. That shit quickened me. Didn't really have my phone off because, it's going to be a bunch of happy birthdays and shit. And I'm, been telling these people for years, man, I don't celebrate that shit. I tell people every year, man, if you want to send me some shekels so I can get me some wine. If you want to send me a gift, just send me some shekels so I can get some wine. That's it, man. Other than that, leave me alone. But hearing that shit, man, that shit brought me back to life, as well as everything else that's been going on. So, I'm just play the rest of this out.
Note that Romania has hastily convened this meeting and immediately put forward unfounded and biased accusations against Russia. We believe that the main purpose of today's meeting is to satisfy demand by Western countries to generate yet another wave of anti-Russian media hype. And
there you have a message from the Russian Federation. This was after a Russian attack on Romania, hit an apartment complex. This was probably a military accident. I don't think that Russia was attempting to start World War III with an Article 5 NATO-style retribution campaign from all Western allies. They've said, hey, sorry it happened. They're probably going to repair it financially. But Romania, the European Union, and members of NATO have said that Russia must pay.
That's how close, that goes to show you how dangerously close we are. Because the Russian attack on NATO, that invokes Article 5. What does that mean? World War III. World War III. So, of course, as we know, or should know, I'll grab it, Matthew 24. Matter of fact, let's start at verse 3. And he sat upon the Mount of Olives. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahweh answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. So why is it reiterated throughout the scriptures to take heed? To take heed, hold on, hold fast, pray. Because again, as you get closer to the end, it hurts. It hurts more. It's going to hurt more. Right? It's like when you got to go to the bathroom. Another reference I always make. When you got to go to the bathroom, you've been holding it in all day. Right? And the closer you get to the house, man, the more you got to go. Right? Fumbling to get the keys in the door because you got to go so bad. You barely make it. Like when you're running a marathon, right? You run the marathon, right? 10 laps, right? And you breeze through it. 6 laps, right? 7 laps. You start feeling it. The last few laps, man. 8 laps come around. Now your knees are starting to buckle, starting to hurt, right? The 9th lap, man, everything starts to hurt, man. But you see the finish line, so we're seconds at the 4th quarter. This is seconds, so that's why, man. Again, it's reiterated throughout the scriptures to take heed, hold fast, hold on, endure, just fight, just wait, just be patient, just a little longer, man. It says, For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And are we not seeing that? Right? What does it say in Revelation? Let the filthy be filthy still. Let the just be just, but let the filthy be still. Right? That's why we can't take any offenses. We get zealous, or we have that zeal, right? We have that passion, because niggas are disrespecting the king. But the Lord told us these things were going to come, and hey, it's just all more tall tale signs that we are at the end. Niggas are just waxing worse and worse. But that's why I always say, hey, better these niggas than us, the hopeful elect. Better these people than us. It says, verse 6, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, because these people are troubled. These people are scared. They see the cool, calm, and collected spirit on brothers. Because in the spirit, we're rejoicing. I did a video on a dream that I had maybe a few months back. In the dream, and I believe it was prophetic, a vision of some sort. The fact that I still remember the dream, because if I have dreams, I don't remember them, but the ones that I do have, well, I believe it's the spirit telling me to go ahead and speak on it. So the fact that I remember this dream, right? But in the dream, just to make a long story short, man, basically it was announced, and it was this guy, Barack Obama, all right? He was a president in this dream, and he was to make a nationwide announcement about a nuclear fallout, basically. Right? So everyone was saying their goodbyes. Everyone was crying, right? Everyone was in that, they basically had their tail tucked between their legs, man. There was a certain look. Everyone was just looking at each other like, man, this is it, man. They were through. But in the dream, it was me, and for whatever reason, it was the head brother Nahoya, the head brother, the camp Nahoya. He was in this dream. And we were looking at each other with excitement in this dream. Everyone Everyone was depressed, man. Everyone was hugging each other. You know, I'm talking about strangers, man. These people, they didn't know each other, but they just, the news got out that, hey, man, in an hour, there's going to be nuclear fallout, such and such. And everyone was just, man, hey, man, damn, we're through, you know. But me and my head brother, Nahoya, in the dream, we were looking at each other like, hey, man, this is it. This is it, you know. So, like I said, see that ye be not troubled, because, hey, these people are scared. And they should be. They should be scared. It says, for all these things must come to pass. So these things are going to happen, but it says, but the end is not yet. Why is that? Because, hey, what must come to pass? The main thing we're looking out for right now is that MOTB, man. And it's close. Again, we know it's close. We know it's close. So fret not. We don't got nothing to worry about. Because with that, you know, the spiritual power, all right, Salakia. But spiritual power and just a few other things, man. But all in all, man, hey, we're close. All right, we're close. So again, that's why we are reassured to just, hey, hold on. Just hold tight. Take heed, man. Because we're close. We're almost out this bitch. So Lord willing, this was edifying. All praises to Yahweh Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully, elect.